Halito people, how you doing? I hope y'all have a wonderful night. And basically, I'm just going to go over a few things about this little I'm an African type thing. Basically, what we trying to do is we trying to wake our people up to the simple fact that we've been racially identified in a false category by individuals that oppress us and control every aspect and every way that how we live. How can one who made you a prisoner of war, who forced you into their rehabilitation schools, boarding schools, educational system, tell you who you are? They forced the identity upon you. They changed your racial background many times. They said your tribes was extinct and they gave you a new identity. It's complete foolish. And my notion is mainly those that push this African identity is victims of Darwinism and colonialism. They don't realize that they are pushing the ideology of Darwinism and racism that was placed upon them during the colonial period, no, the end of the colonial period of the 18th century, during the era of eugenics, during the era of eugenics and the basis of the beginning of science, which is extremely racist. Y'all, please tell me, what do science mean? What do the word science mean? Basically, a simple terms for science means to separate and analyze. Basically, to divide and analyze. So when you look at segregation, what was it? To separate and to analyze. When you look at Darwinism, its basis was to separate and analyze. When you look at Louis Agassiz, it was basically to, again, separate and analyze. When in reality, in nature, everything's supposed to be all together, not separated. You get what I'm saying? So those of you that is pushing the Pan-Africanism, how come y'all can't prove who you really is? How come you can't? When we ask you to provide documentation such as slave voyage records, transfer records, etc., 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 you can't provide, but you come up with this thing called DNA, genetic testing. And then you get confused between paternal testing and ancestral testing. Well, paternal testing has nothing to do with ancestral testing. You get what I'm saying? Oh, who is this? Let me see what they want. So basically, I guess they're not going to come up. Oh, there they go. How are you? What do you want to say to the live?
Good day, good day, good night, good night. Um, well, I have a lot to say, but I feel that we as you consider yourself what?
What you mean by that?
Race.
I don't go by race. I go by nationality.
Then what's your nationality? But race come before nationality.
Race is a false concept, and it's a false concept made by Darwinistic people. But I go by Chata, I go by the Yurkahardians, and I also go by the Kitawa. Those are my people.
Okay, if you pass away, because there's
Mhm.
DNA that can state that what race you was. It's not most of Black African Americans that are here. had the lowest when it comes to indigenous. Because y'all got to keep in mind, Native Americans enslaved Africans as well. They was a part of the whole gist of everything too. So it wasn't just, oh, we are part of them. And the thing that too that I have to say, that if we're going to claim anything, let's claim the whole planet, the whole earth, not just specific places, because we was here first.
I'm gonna have to oppose on that. Basically, Native Americans did not own anyone. They came here during the 18th century during the Great Immigration period. Walter Plecker had falsely
People did his
reclassified.
DNA.
Excuse me. Walter Plecker has falsely falsely reclassified us as N words, African Americans. No, Jesse Jackson did African Americans, black, N word, and colored. He went around destroying our birth certificates during the late 17th century and relabeling us, removing our tribes, our names, our nationalities, all for taxation and property. The Native Americans didn't own none of us at all.
Yes, it did. Because if you do look at this celebrity, Don Cheadle, he thought he was actually Chickasaw, and then when he did his DNA, the Indians owned his people. They were slave owners as well. They were slave catchers as well.
DNA testing is a false theory and notion
But
that
I'm
was
saying, no, I'm doing
created
my
by
lineage. I didn't do
by.
DNA testing. I did my lineage. I went through the records, and I know where my people come from, and they are not from this land.
All right, so you have records to prove it.
I did my lineage.
When you say
Said it
record, what do
again.
you mean? So you have records. What
I did
type
my
of
lineage,
records?
my family tree, went through the records, paid for them to go through my family lineage through the last name, and went through all the paperwork. And my people, I'm going to speak for myself, are not from this land.
Okay, so do you have
I didn't go
any?
through this land.
So who are your
Go
people?
ahead. My people are from Angola.
Okay, do you have transfer records or ship logs to prove it from a particular person of your ancestry tree? And what year did they come here?
Everybody in my family, as a family union, gift. I can't hear you.
I
I can't hear
said,
you.
do I said, do you have the I want to know what record is it? Is it a ship log record? Is it a voyage record? Is it a transfer record? Import record? What is it? And who is this individual?
Import records.
Okay, it was
Import.
okay. So basically, you're saying he was a indentured servant or a slave?
He was a slave, and it was a woman. My lineage started in this land from a woman, not a man.
Okay, so and you all right?
They
He was a
called her
slave.
Anna.
What year did this person came?
She was a slave. Huh?
What year did this person came here?
Came here 1746.
Impossible if they couldn't be slaves during that time. It was indentured servitude.
No, from 1600. You got to keep in mind the Europeans was here with the Native Americans for 100 years before they started transporting Africans here. So,
1490 during 1462. I know, and there was and those
what
Europeans
is
were
the
black
reason
people.
for
There wasn't
what is the
pale skinned
reason
people.
for okay? What is the reason for them to doing getting Africans and bringing them here if there was
They did
enough
not
people here
they
to do the labor?
they did not bring Africans here. Those first Africans that came here, the first 20 Africans, only eight. First of all, only 8% of Africans came to North America. Let's get that correct. Only eight
And
percent.
two, they was also doing it from Brazil. They was getting
Yeah,
Brazil because
okay, all right.
Brazil was the
We're,
one.
we're going to get that. Those people was original Brazilians that came up here to North America. They was not
No,
Africans.
they was not.
I got the real I got books to prove this. I got books. I got memoirs from the
Well, I don't
1600s to
know about
prove everything I'm saying.
lineage.
But basically what I'm saying is basically
We
what I'm
live
saying is
in Native American. And
ba- basically what I'm
not every
saying.
person on this land that came here is Native American.
What's up, Chris? Basically what I'm saying is only 8% of Africans came to North America. In the first 20 they came to Jamestown, Virginia, was in a 7 year indentured servitude who came on their own free will in order to get land. This is well documented. And the first one that was free, his name was Johnson, Corral Johnson. He had got over 2,000 acres. Yes, I'm talking about an African that got freed after 7 years. They came here on their own free will. And the ones that brought them was the Portuguese Jews and the Spaniards. All these people were black people with other black people that came over here.
But
I
where do
encourage.
black come from? Where do black come from? Where do black come from?
I said it. I said it in a terminology where you can understand. I could say melanated. I could say original. They was not pale
But
skinned people.
where do the creation of black come from?
You said where
Where
did
do the
creation?
creation of black come from?
That word is a
The
Latin
creation
word.
of black come from.
It's a Latin word.
Okay,
It comes from the
melanated
Japhetic
people. Where
land.
did melanated people come from?
Melanated people came here from whoever. They the first and the
No,
last.
see that's the thing. Life did not begin in this landmass.
To
Life
me,
did not
pale
begin
to me,
in
pale
this
skinned people came from
landmass.
the subterranean. Only
Okay, but
melanated people
life did
were on the
not.
surface.
Okay, life did not come from this landmass. So we got to take it back to the beginning of time.
You can't do that
Where
because
did
we
the
don't have
first
no real record
people?
of the beginning of time. We can't speak on beginning of time.
No, we can't speak on because we wasn't there, so we can't speak on stuff that we wasn't present on. Because
Yes, we can.
anything,
Well, we can
everything
speak on
was
things that
written
we
was
have records on.
inspired by. Everything that we read is inspired by majority of the time.
So you telling me a
It don't have to be
firsthand account?
factual. It could be
So
inspired.
if I wrote a journal about our documentation, our dialogue is an inspiration.
But that's your experience. That's only your experience, and it don't have to be factual because it's what you're putting in here. Everybody don't tell the truth because people talk about, oh, my grandmother said, my aunt said. These things are what people
So you
said,
can't do
and
that.
it's not
You
factual.
can't disrespect what people what their grandparents passed down to them. That is their nationality. That's who they are. You can't do that. Only you
No,
can talk about your
no.
own seed line. I'm at to
And I'm
stop you
saying
right there
that
on that.
not every black person. Granted, there was Africans here before Columbus. That's facts.
Can
They
you
were
prove?
African.
Can you prove
They
that?
were Africans.
Can you prove that?
Life
Because
began in
I could
Africa.
put.
We
Let me put.
migrated to different parts of the world. That's what I'm saying. Why
Who's
are we as black people
who
just
said that?
claiming America? Claim the
Who said
whole thing. We
who
was
said?
here first.
Hold on, wait. Who
We
said
were here
Africa?
first.
Hold on. Who said Africa was the first land that migrated all lands of the earth? Who said that? Who's the
No,
exact person
nobody
that said
said that.
that?
It's factual. The oldest bones, everything was
Uh uh
found
uh
in
uh uh
Africa.
That came from someone who said that.
No, you can Google it.
I don't have to Google it. I read books. I know who said it. Who said it?
Then where? Okay, well, who? Where do you think life began?
Louis Agassiz and Franz Roderick and Charles Darwin is the ones, the key creators of this out of Africa theory that all people came out of Africa and spread it across the world. But if you look at memoirs and real records before the fake science, this whole thing called science came into place. America, you will see documentation of America having the oldest rocks, the oldest civilizations, skulls and bones being found. Hold on, wait, let me finish. Skulls
Okay,
and
it's
bones
really
be hold
good.
on, wait, let me finish. Hold on. Skulls and bones being found here in America that they dated that was 450 million years old that predates Lucy's bone that was found in Ethiopia, which is nothing but monkey bones. But all of this have been proven that America is the oldest and has the oldest bones here in the oldest cities and civilizations and pyramids. So that spreading out of Africa theory is
No, that I think
completely
that's false.
false.
That's not
That
that's
is
not that's
completely false.
that's
You prove
no. What
you
you're
giving me
saying is
John D.
completely false.
Rockefeller vibes. That's what you're giving
No,
me.
your theory is actually a
Okay,
theory.
let me prove it. Let me prove it. Watch this. It ain't no theory.
There you go.
My bad. Have you read this book before? Hold on. It didn't pop up. Let me bring it up. Let's get to it right here. Come on, show yourself. Have you read this book before? Dang it, go to the freaking page.
Time on it because those are not
It,
my people.
it's not, yeah, it's black. All right, here you go. Can you see it now?
Hello?
Hello? I say, can you see it now?
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
let me
here.
turn this.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Let me turn this off.
I can hear you now.
There you go. I had to turn off the Wi-Fi. It was probably what was going on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Have you read this book before?
I'm not reading anything that has nothing to be related to me. I'm not doing nothing. Me personally, I don't read nothing on anything that's not related to me. I'm not a native. I'm not indigenous to this land. So I don't focus on
Okay.
that.
All right. Well,
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
will explain it. I will explain it to you. Basically, this book's called "The Forbidden Histories of the Americas." So let me go to the crucial page real quick. Is this it right here? Got to turn the camera around. To where's the camera? Flip. And where's it says it says we, I'm reading the bottom paragraph. We
Okay.
definitely human. 2.5 weeks later, Dr. Booth reached a level of 24 feet and found more same skeletons, a thigh bone, a vertebrae, and more. It's kind of cut off on the side, I can't read it. But I'm gonna skip on down. He's basically he basically told you what he found, but he's basically telling you right there. He said he dated that skeleton to 425 million years old, and he said, "Let me repeat, 425 million years old." If you look up the oldest bone they found in Africa, it was Lucy, which is a primate bone, which sadly our women say that's the Eve gene. You're associating yourself with a monkey, but basically this real human, modern human bone, not monkey bone, was found here that was dated about 425 million years old. And the Smithsonian's, and there's other ones, the Smithsonian's came by and destroyed these bones because it goes against the scientific belief of Darwinism and the African theory. It's a lot of evidence that America has the oldest civilization and the oldest humans and the oldest bones and everything here.
But I have a question. Why would they destroy it if America always wants to be on top? To me, that don't
Be
make no sense.
because it goes against the base of science, the African theory, the
But why
Neanderthal.
would they? Why
It
would
goes.
they listen to me? Okay, why would they promote? Because you know how they do black people. Why would they not? Why would they want to promote black? Because you know Jesus to them is white and all this stuff. So why would they want to promote Africa over America?
It's because that's where they found their bones at. Mind you, every time they find bones, they try to see if it's their bones. As soon as they find an N-word bone that predates Lucy, they destroy it. They want to make it seem like they was the first. This is all based off Darwinism. I'm telling you. Everything that these people told you is complete fallacies. Your true history, I'm telling you, is
Yeah,
from over here.
I mean, no. Maybe some blacks, but not all the blacks that's here are native.
I'm saying all life started here.
I don't think so. No,
America,
I
America, America is literally has the oldest rocks compared to every single continent on this earth. So how could they not be from here or even start from here if it's the first one to rise above the sea?
I don't.
It logically doesn't make any sense.
Well, all I can say is maybe for some, but not all.
Okay. All right. But I do have a question for you though. Do you have that transfer record, voyage record, slave record that proved that this woman came over here? Do you have a tangible document? Can I actually review it
You're,
and see it?
you're, you're you're breaking up.
I said, can I see that record of your ancestor that you said they came over here in the 17th century from Angola? The
Okay, because I'm
transfer
not
record
at
that
my
you
house. because I'm not home right now. But I'm gonna follow you, and I will definitely give it. I mean, show you.
You can send it to my. You can send it to my Instagram. My Instagram in my bio.
Okay.
You could DM it to me.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining live.
All right. Oh, you're welcome. Nice talking to you.
All right. Who else wants to join? Who is this?
Some people just,
Peace. What
some
brings you to
people
the
just
live?
don't.
How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Some people just don't want to do the research, man, to overstand, man. Some people just run with ideology without understanding.
Correct, my brother. The thing is, when I'm trying to break through to my people is that a lot of people that believe in this Pan African theory, their mind is literally colonized. Everything that they say, oh, you came from Africa, you black, you color, all of that stuff came from your very oppressor. You should want to get away from all that, get away from the landmass and completely analyze. And the only way to do that is by talking to your own family members, asking them, who am I? If they say, I don't know, dig deeper. Somebody out there know who you is that's in your own family.
Even more on the broader side, as a people, to keep trying to go with something that's a negative and try to make it a positive is clearly an insane act.
It is. I look at it as if you, like for example, the systematic educational system that we've been in. If you view the ideologies of these people over your ideology, that's showing you that they have power over you, and you basically openly admitting, hey, white people is smarter than me. I feel like they need to tell me who I am. This is the same type of way how the original African acts today. If you look at their country and how they view the white people today, they full blood Christian, full on Christians. They don't believe racism is happening to us like that in America. They think we just lying about everything. They believe them over anything. You literally using
You
your
have to,
oppressor words over you.
you have to understand that they're not over here in the same circumstances as us.
Exactly. I
So
understand. I completely understand that too.
so so you can't put a tiger and a lion in a cage and think they're gonna live the same way.
Right. 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 But basically, that's all I'm really just trying to prove to my people. Like me personally, I'm not gonna let nobody tell me my research of what I've been doing, looking into these old books before the educational system was
Mm-hmm.
even instituted.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me
That,
that these are lies. Because what I do, I look at firsthand accounts. Then I go look at modern books that promotes that firsthand account, like this book right here. This promotes the foreigners of expeditioners that said, "Hey, America is the oldest continent alive." So I had to go look at
well, well, even
archaeological
even
findings and things
even
like that.
even the even the Egyptians, they pay homage to the old world, Tameri.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
we know this to be a fact. They
Yucatan
pay
too.
homage, they pay homage to the old world. So since we know this, how can we refute it when it's documented?
That's absolutely true, bro. Absolutely true. Like I said, that's all I just want from my people, just to dive into what I'm saying, look into what y'all call black Indians, look into what they're saying. Just do the research. Go against your belief for a change. It's not gonna hurt you to do it.
Not even go against your belief, but unlearn and relearn for yourself. Think for yourself.
Hmm.
Do not soak in, because the way they teach, they teach a drill matter. So
Right.
they're drilling something into your head for you to relinquish. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So each time they put the use CGR to generate results to your brain. That's what they're doing. They're programming you. Everything,
Right.
TV, everything. See what I'm saying? So we have to understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, what I would tell my people is, as y'all notice, January 2nd, this tender that we have is no good. Take y'all tender and buy some gold backs and put it in the trust for your families.
Mm-hmm. Because this is the final year. For what they say, it's the final year of, I guess, USA Corporation, I guess. That's just something I heard.
Well, what's taking place is honestly Moors and all the other indigenous are entitled. Since we are entitled, they have to. The United Nations is making them pay up. That's what's really taking place. They doing
Mm.
it behind scenes, but they making them pay up. That's why. And don't my people do not take no money from them because it ain't no good. Where you gonna go get it? You can't get it out the bank.
Right.
It ain't no good. So we if they not give you some Troy ounces, you don't want it.
Right. Right.
Set up a foundation for your families, family. It's only one way to do it. Yeah, get you a UCC one financing statement. You put a lien on yourself, on your straw man. So when anybody else tries to come and put forth a claim, you already made a claim, and it has to be rectified before anything can transpire first.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking about. Have you read this book called The Redemption Manual?
Oh, definitely.
Free from Servitude. I got all five parts. I'm still studying it right now. Um, I'm learning how to set the value on my birth certificate as $100 million and
It's
trade and commerce dealing with that.
you just need to authenticate on the state and federal level. Once you authenticate your birth certificate, file your UCC one, and then after you file your UCC one, then you open up a trust. You get you a trustee. You know what I'm saying? Then right, everything in the private. You have to learn. We have to learn as people how to operate in the private and in the public, and
Right.
distinguishing the two.
Right. Right.
For instance, people who think they drive, unless you're a bus driver, a Lyft driver, Uber driver, cab driver, delivering something, then you're not driving. And it's your inalienable right from God for you to be able to travel. So if you're not for hire, then you're not driving. Only way they can deem you driving, you have to give them consent to say that you was driving. But you know you was traveling, stand on it.
Right. And that's the only way how to free ourselves from being this property, this slave. Because there's no law in flesh and blood. It's only laws on
So
the
soon, like soon as you go to court after you
mm,
got your UCC one, oh yeah, I don't refute any charges that you got, but I have a lien. Once they see that lien set up, who paying them dollars? You see what I'm saying?
right, right. Oh, let me show them this book because they asked me. Let me put this book up here. Yeah, there is a book on this. Let me turn this camera around.
Man, the last book I just got was called it's called How the White Man Got So Rich.
All right. And according, if you get this, you is gonna have to get this.
Yeah, definitely.
I also have the other
It breaks
manuals
down
as
some.
well up here.
But yeah, go.
So
We got to go back to source though. Studying the metadata, things of that nature, to go back to source, man, to the beginning of things.
right. Black Sun Prince. How you doing? What brings you to the live?
Well, one, I like you. I gotta be honest here. Yours is the only live I kind of like. I cannot stand these people on this app with all the rhetoric and hyperbole they talk about.
Right.
Especially about this culture, because I despise this culture. Okay. Um, I also, I've seen you on Instagram. I follow you on Instagram. I try to get your books that you be posting and stuff like that. And I want to kind of weigh in on a couple of different things. One of the first things is that for myself, just a little background on myself. I we all were in this system. So lock, stock, and barrel. I thought I was an American. I thought then I figured I was from Africa. Sending the slaves, all that stuff they told me. And let's see, I don't know. After the first Gulf, actually, what was the first Gulf War? During the first Gulf War, that's what I went to the first Gulf War back. I think it was like 25 back then. I'm 54 now. I don't remember. That was a while ago. Um, I remember having these dreams, okay, and seeing everything being totally different than how like the world. Like, I knew the world was going to change after the war, but I also realized I was not living in the world they told us we were living in. And I
Right.
remember um, looking at America, and just this thought hit me. It was just a thought, okay? And it was this: what if America is the actual old world? Okay, they just scrolled over it and just changed everything. Okay, but back then that was during the early '90s. Okay, so we didn't have the internet the way we do now and all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't find you couldn't find those kind of books and stuff like that. Um, but since then, I have been traveling around and gone to different places, and I discovered some of my heritage, and some of my beliefs changed from being sort of Christians, kind of understand that we're a special people, okay. And one of the things that I've noticed about our people, okay, is that we are waking up, okay. And it's not, and what I mean by this, I'm not just talking. I mean, everybody's got their own different ways. Some people talk about, national solidarity, economic solidarity, reparations, whatever. But um, I do see that what's actually happening, at least here in America, because I've been traveling. I traveled to India. I also traveled to what was the place? South America, Central America, and I've been in Europe. I was in Europe for 12 years, so I learned that a lot of different things. Like, I saw different history books, uh, and things like that. But one of the things that has come to light, at least when I was in Egypt, is I realized that the Egyptian pyramids, all stuff down there, it wasn't as old. There's no way it could be as old. And I remember seeing some of the architecture in Central America, the Central American pyramids, especially in
You
Belize.
talk
Okay,
about
step pyramids.
Yucatan?
Yes,
You see that in Yucatan, to
and
Mexico and Peru.
right, and the one thing I kind of noticed about those pyramids was that the way the architecture was built, um, basically was a bit of real ingenuity, but very much possibly capable for our people. Okay, and I also got to see a couple of different books in the 1800s. Like, they've really glossed over everything. Okay, but what I want to say on this live, okay, like, if you look at my name, Black Sun Prince, right? That is not something I came up with. Okay, actually, that name came up when I actually did a ceremony. When I was invited to attend a Native American ceremony up in New England, and I had this vision and heard this voice call me that, and I had to look up what all that was, because when you see the black sun, you really think like Nazism and Eastern, like the Nordic teachings and all this other kind of stuff. But actually, what I found out was that the temple of the black sun is in the Yucatan. It's in Mexico, and that the people used to call themselves people of the sun or the black sun. Okay. It's in some of the books like dealing with the Maya and things like that, and the fact that they're black people. And I just found it was really amazing, all these synchronicities about us as a people. And
Right.
and currently I'm in Arizona, and where I'm at in Arizona, I walked out in the out in the desert, and I actually saw, okay, like this part here, the Sonora Desert, they actually changed the waterways, okay, plugged up stuff, things like that, to kind of drain, to make this more of a desert, to kind of hide a lot of the ruins and stuff that's here, okay, and that how this entire area goes all the way up to Colorado, deeper into Colorado and stuff like that, in Utah. And Utah um has a lot of unexplored ruins they block you from going into all the time, and those places look like fortress cities or former fortress cities that have just
Yep.
worn.
Megalithic
They,
city.
So
they,
right,
they don't want you to see Jerusalem for real.
right. And one of the things that I and then and I just on the conscious awakening of things, like on real talk, um, I start to look at the people here, the non-indigenous, the lighter skinned ones, as interlopers, and they don't really belong here. I don't think that we are going to
Well,
end up.
well,
We're
my
not going
brother,
to we're
I,
not going
I
to end up remaining
don't.
here. I mean, remaining in the situation. They're going to end up having to leave. Okay, that's what I really believe. Just by all the various different things that's taking place on a massive conscious level, and
Well,
so our
I don't think they're gonna have to leave. Um, but all in all, things will revert back in our favor. It's just fact. It's already
well,
taken place.
they're going to have. Well, I mean, we I have my reasons why I say that. Okay, I know a lot of people have a lot of different things that they'll say and stuff, and they'll actually, basically kind of like, point to prophecy, or they'll point to their own, that all that is also comes from the oppressor. They're looking at prophecy and the stuff that's set up uh and like spiritual beliefs and stuff like that is very, very tainted by the oppressor, very tainted. And even when it comes to our redemption or us being free, okay, they put those things in place. Like, if we're going to be free, okay, we're not going to just be free in terms of just the system and things like that. We're going to be independent on all levels. We're not going to have them in the midst of us. We're not going to be forced to trade. We're not this and we're not going to be stuck in a situation where we're going to have to it's going to be a massive struggle for our emancipation, because one of the main things they've hidden so much stuff that even they don't even remember no more everything that they're doing. I really can't explain it other than that. And I have been talking to other brothers and
Well,
stuff, because
it's
a lot
not.
of
Well, I can't. You can't say they don't remember. They know what they're doing. It's just that through generations, their stronghold is not the same. See what I'm
when I
saying?
say they
So
don't remember, when I say they don't remember, is the
they know
fact
what they're
that
doing.
their lives have gotten to the point that they actually believe their own lies and deceive themselves. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, yeah. That I can agree with that. That
that
they
that's
that
kind of
they,
that because if you put
they believe
if
their
you put
own lie.
if you put the truth in front of them and they can see it for themselves, they'll flat out just say that type of ball was a lie. Okay, this is something on a massive conscious of them.
Yeah.
This is why there's so much pushback what this brother is saying here about us, about America being the old land. Okay, because that is too hard for them to kind of accept. Okay, and it's hard for us to accept, because it's easier, because we don't even really accept the fact that we have been conquered and we have been sanitized of
Yeah.
our culture and everything else.
So if y'all pay close attention when y'all on the highways, what do you see on the highways?
What do you mean? Like, you talk? Well, on me on the highway, I don't see anything but road.
My point exactly. My point exactly. They so you're not gonna see in all the stuff that they hid, because when you're traveling, they got you going in one direction where you can only see what they want you to see.
Oh, but I don't say. Oh, but that's why I say I know different, because I don't go on the road. I go hike. I go to all those other places into like not the national forest, but the other places they don't even label as national forests, just out there. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. I saw all this stuff. Like I found petroglyphs.
See,
I found former roads. In some places that they act like it's just regular rocks and stuff. It's actually houses and stuff like that. You know, places they say are mines are not. It's actually a city. Okay, they say it's a mine, but there's no way it could be a mine. There's nothing in there with mining equipment and things like that. It's like rooms and stuff. All I mean, right, just right here where I'm at. So I mean, yeah, they've been putting roads out there, and we've been taught the way. But see, the thing is, for us, they terrorize us on the roads to keep us from exploring. They always work to keep us in the cities. They've always worked to make us paranoid and travel. That's why the whole, especially out in the West, there's a lot of sundown towns still. I mean, I'm in Arizona. There's sundown towns in Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, things like that. There's, so you know, when you're driving, you're going to keep going as far as you can rather than stopping in these roads because you don't know what you're going to run into,
I
especially with
I
the way
can
these people out here.
I can agree to that because I'm not going to tell you the state I was in, but when I went to, me and my wife was traveling to Branson, Missouri, we went through so many roads and we seen these things that look like mountains, but they wasn't. When you look closely at it, they look like bricks lined up. They got destroyed and blown up and everything. It almost shaped like pyramids. And on top of that, it almost kind of looked like it was a stairway, but it was all ruined and everything. So I can agree to that.
but
I
that,
seen
That
those
that
things driving on the road.
that's kind of what I'm saying. And the thing is that with this whole concept going, people have this idea of when this whole concept going to a third world war here in this country. Okay, um, it's not like no one really wants to ever think about the reality that and as to why and what they want to do. And one of the things is that because there's so much open space, you know, these places can be lived in during a massive conflict because these these buildings that are here, which we look at mountains stuff like that out here in the desert or up in the up in like Colorado, all up going to Montana, even some places down in the deep south. These places are deep underground. You can survive down there if you know if you explore it enough and you bring enough stuff, you can survive. A small community can survive down there. Okay, so it's not like in this homeless thing coming up, this big homeless thing that because everybody's talking about we're going to be in FEMA camps and stuff like that. No, there's the expanse is too far. There's no way they can police it all. Okay, and if people knew where to go and knew where those places are, we would have an exodus from hell because they would not. There's no power lines. There's no grid out there. They can't do anything. They can't police it and control it. Okay, so they shut this grid down. Like they're talking about doing these false flags and stuff. They've lost the war. That's it. We get our independence because if you turn off the internet and you turn it back on, it won't just like it won't be the same world for us on the internet. It won't be the same world for them. They'll lose. They have to stay in contact with us. They have to keep surveilling us. They have to keep getting us telling ourselves, keep us divided. They cut contact and isolate us. Look at what COVID did. COVID was a quantum leap in our consciousness. We, for the first time ever, I'm 54, the first time ever, okay, in 30 years, when COVID hit, when they was making to be something, I never saw a rise and a changing and a freaking condensing, okay, of so-called black consciousness and stuff like that. And since then, the material that's come out about our heritage and stuff like this about America was huge. And I think it's good.
Right.
you remember it, and when you go get your eyes checked, they told you 20/20 vision.
Yeah.
For real, they was telling you in 2020 that everybody was gonna see clearly.
Yeah.
They was using Mayan medicine to to fix eyes. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So that's how they tweaked it in there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
20/20 vision, because in the Mayan calendar it say that the Aquarian age was gonna hit and we gonna see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I think that the whole like all the pressure, like this what's that guy's name? Kanye, I think Kanye West. Okay, because I saw I don't like follow any of that, but he came on like on someone was talking about on like a TikTok or whatever. And I read it. I mean, I watched it, and the only thing I can say is I remember some stuff he said before about like slavery and things like that, and all the stuff like about the Jews and all this other kind of stuff too, right? And the thing is that one of the main things that's happening to us is that there is so much interest of who we say we are. Okay, like they really battle with us over that. If we move away from the narrative they've given us, just saying that we're black or descendants of slaves, we're from Africa, whatever, they fight hard, and and we're anti, and they say that we're anti everything. When people were saying they were Muslims, the Muslims had a problem with saying stuff about that. When they were saying things about being Hebrew Israelite, I think they were calling it anti-Semitic. And now when um people are talking about like America being the old world and all this and stuff, and there's facts and there's like archaeology and everything that shows about this. Uh, uh, People are now coming out and getting upset and calling it indigenous, something called indigenous erasure. Like they come up with all these slanderous concepts to halt an argument. I mean, to create an argument to prevent the ability for us to explore and figure things out for ourselves about really what's going on and seeing the truth. And one of the main things is that I've just been noticing that with everything that they've been lying. I mean, even with the polls, like the North versus being South and South being, East and West, all this stuff, the way they've done the Mercure maps, and and also the forced dissection and removal, because they created the English language the way it was to keep us from any of the major root language or the lingua franca, like Latin and Greek and all the European languages, okay, because they couldn't get a mastery of Hebrew. They tried to do all that, okay, and the Hebrew it's not Hebrew with an H, it's really like Hebrew or Hebrew or whatever. But that
Ibre,
was the
Ibre,
yeah, yeah, and
Ibre
it was a
would be the
yeah,
actual term, and then, but
right.
but
It's actually
the
a trend,
so-called Jewish man is speaking Yiddish. They don't
right?
speak
Yeah, German.
Hebrew. They can't speak
It's
Hebrew to save their life. They speak in
right.
Yiddish.
But I was just saying that thing there, and the thing is that those, and the reason why they force English here is because all the indigenous tongues have their ties um, into like it's I don't know the right word, but it's like
See,
a trans,
native tongues tie you back into your nation state.
right. But I was just saying that nation state tied also tied to a lot of the okay that those nation those the indigenous ones in Central, North, Central, South America were actually highly connected. They could all talk to each other. It's just that when they spoke, it's like a German, okay, living like a person living in German and dealing with speaking in German from like North German, like in Germany, which is it's called Hoyt or High Deutsch, it's called Hochdeutsch, and then with what they will actually call guttural slang from the different provinces, like from Bavaria, the Black Forest, you know what I mean, things like this. I mean, and even in the effect of that split of language actually happened between Eastern and West Germany, because the Eastern Germans speak a bit more of a pure dialect or less westernized form of a dialect than the Western Germans do. That has like because because of the occupation, so they have a lot more words like from English, and a lot more words from French actually inside the modern German language than they did before World War II. I mean World War I actually. So that's another thing. But they won't look at that. They won't look at any of the cultural like that's the other thing. They espouse cultural anthropology, but they will do nothing to admit what cultural anthropology actually shows. You know what I mean? With all this stuff. I mean, and that's one of the main things. Like I said, it's because we've been conquered. It's not something that it was just lost to history. Nothing. This is deliberate. It's deliberate. It's oppressive, and it's to keep us basically on the ground, if not try to wipe us out totally. And that's all I had to say. I'm out of words.
So let me ask you this, Black Son. What's your nationality?
My nationality. Um, you mean are you talking about according to the U.S. corporation? Or are you talking like American national, or like with the term ethnic identity?
Bro. just in general. Your nationality. See, ethnic identity is a social construct. They don't exist, but a nationality
Well,
derived from your
actually,
ancestors, what
well,
nation, what
well,
family
ethnic identity.
name, and
Right.
what.
Well, I mean, that's their interpretation of ethnic identity. And ethnic identity actually goes is not really is a social construct derived on your bloodline. Okay. Your nationality
How
is more
how
of the
how
group
how
of
the
because
word black in their definition is people having origins in black racial groups of Africa which do not exist.
okay, and I just all right, right, and what I just said was that their definition. That's what I just said. That ethnos, according to them, I don't go according to what they say their definition is. If we look at it really with the whole concept of ethnos, look at the tribes because that's what we all basically are. Okay, we ethnically are tribes. Okay, our tribal bloodlines and things like that, like a family, like the native. Like here in indigenous, the Plains Indians and the various different Indians. In fact, actually, even in Africa, the tribes in Africa, the people that still keep their tribal identities, they actually the way it goes according to ethnos is that let's say one group would be the Igbo tribe, right? But within the Igbo tribe, they would have within the greatest gross part of among the Igbos, there's another group called the Biafrans. You follow what I'm saying? So that's all I was kind of trying. That's all I was basically saying. Okay, that's what I was saying. I was asking specifically what you're looking at. Now, my own personal
See,
identity,
see,
I've looked at, I've done my heritage, right, like my
mhm.
lineage. Okay, and according to that, I'm I'm actually Cree. Okay, when I looked up like going to like my mother and father, where they came from, going all the way down. Okay, I had like a genealogy look. So that's what I would say would be what would be like. It's not unrecognized, but that would be it. Now, court on paperwork, having filed my UCC and everything else, I'm not a citizen. I'm an American national. That's what I was saying basically. Like if we were asked that it was asking me.
Well, it's kind of offsetting because the 13th Amendment say if you melanated that you can't be a citizen anyway. So it's,
Well, they say that, but they've changed that definition because citizens is a subject, and according to commercial law, right, that's what they actually do the legalese inside the court. Okay, and citizens don't have any rights according to the Constitution. Like as an American national, I have my full constitutional rights according to the
but
treaties and stuff like
but
that.
but but if you pay attention to it, you can never be a citizen in the first place. The
Well,
13th
yeah, I
Amendment
know that, but
clearly.
that's not how
So
I
so
know. I
so that
no.
so when I go in, so that's what I'm saying. So when I go in the courtroom, the first thing I do is challenge jurisdiction because I have everything set up and tell them, hey, look, dismiss this matter without prejudice. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't have time. This must be a tax matter.
No, you're right about that. Or would you ask me that? You didn't ask me specifically like for that as far as dealing with the courts. The stuff they do, they don't follow their own laws here. Okay, there's that these people do not even laws. They don't follow their own codes. Okay, when it comes to everyone else, they do what the heck they want and they make it stick. They have no honor amongst themselves. They're bloodthirsty thieves. There's nothing redeeming about them. So even their legalese, they've actually like even in their laws, even the higher courts and stuff, even on the international scene. Okay, they do all kind. They don't follow anything. You understand what I'm saying? They do what they want to do, what they can get away with. All right.
See, see
So
me, see me, see me, brother. My mother, is full blooded Cherokee. My father is a Moroccan national. So two different. See what I'm saying? So it's kind of I came up learning both ways. See what I'm saying? And I'm a Moroccan national myself because you are what your father is. So I had to go to a Moroccan court to to get my sanctity and my sovereignty back.
okay.
All right. Well, I'm glad I had you two on the live because I got to go ahead and continue because I don't got much time left.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all for coming up.
All right. No problem. Take care.
You too.
Okay, baby.
All right. Now let's continue. Now those I seen somebody was talking about Lucy was a human. She was not. Look at this bone. Look at this. This is where your out of Africa theory come from. This is where your all humans have 99% of similar DNA come from. This is we found the oldest human in Ethiopia come from this monkey. That's the score right there. It's a same shape of the score. This isn't a straight score, but this is how the score look. So you telling me this is how your score look? This is similar to the monkey score. This is similar to the monkey score. This is your Eve gene that y'all say that y'all got. So all you Pan Africans, this is your haplogroup. This is your Darwinism. This is your colonialism. This is your DNA test. It's back to this. Whether if you eat E1B or L something, whatever it is, this is who it come from. You come from a monkey. And that's basically promoting Darwin. Saying that you come from gorillas. And if you don't believe me it's a monkey bone, this right here is the mold over of Lucy. This is the mold over of Lucy. So if this was you, how did you mutate it to the form that you in right now? What happened to your eyebrow structure? What happened to that little snout nose? What happened to your thin lips? What happened to your hair that's similar to fur? Melanated man, you said this is the Eve gene. Melanated woman, you said this is the Eve gene. So this is your great great grandmother? I told you I'm not messing with none of that out of African stuff. I'm not messing with none of that. Because this is your base. This is who you say you come from. So you could end all that right then and there. Let me go on to this real quick. This article right here. This article is The Science and Business of Genetic Ancestry Testing. Now we're going to skip on down to this right here. I'm going to turn this around. Tell you I don't got much time. I'm trying to wrap it up. Although companies, let me turn it like this. Although companies, the MTA, nah, it's kind of cut off. MTA DNA and raw chromosome test provides no information about most of the test takers' ancestors. More importantly, limitations to all three types of genetic ancestry tests are often less obvious. For example, genetic ancestry testing can identify some of the groups and locations around the world. How can spit give you a geographical location? I say it again. How can spit give you a geographical location. Oh, the spit is just telling us the migration. How can spit tell you the migration? So if I spit on the ground right now, you could tell me the geographical location of where I come from. That's crazy. It's ludicrous. And people are so gullible to believe that, to think that spit can tell you a geographical location. Oh no, it just tell you the people that's the races that live in these regions. What happened to the migration? So you're telling me the same people living in the same regions during the time of 1619, 1492. You're telling me these same people is living in the same geographical regions. As if the Fulani ain't dropped in, as if the Arabians ain't dropped in, as if the Palestinians ain't dropped in. So you telling me the same people from 1619, 1492 is still in the same geographical regions? You lost your damn mind. You lost your mind. Ain't no way. And then on top of that, when they get your spit test, they're not doing ancestry testing. They seeing if your DNA is similar to somebody across the world. If you're gonna do ancestry testing, common sense should tell you that, hey, I gotta dig up bodies. I gotta dig up these bodies. I gotta get DNA from these bodies that's in the ground and do a cross reference from your DNA to their DNA and see if we have a common match. But that's not what's being done here. That ain't what's being done here. After they just told you all humans in the world have 99% similar DNA, how the hell can you find your people when everybody have 99% similar DNA? That logically doesn't make any damn sense, and you know that. You can't find your racial background if everybody have 99% similar DNA. So that means somebody is predicting. So that means somebody's just back there in the lab making it all up and just giving you our identity because you all have 99% similar DNA, even though you all look different. That logically don't make sense. So if I had 99% pig DNA, I would look like a damn pig. If I had 99% of dog DNA, I would look like a damn dog. So all of a sudden, DNA doesn't show on the surface. It's just this invisible element, this invisible entity. It no longer shows on the surface. Everybody know DNA show on the surface. If we all share 99% DNA, we all look alike. Literally, we will all look alike. But we don't. So that's a lie. Obviously, that's a complete fallacy, pseudoscience, entertainment purposes, astrology. That's all it is. And you gullible to it. It's crazy. It's ludicrous. I don't understand why as smart as the Pan-Africans is, how can you fall for something so obvious? This obvious lie. They just back there making it up, giving you identity. They told you was black and African in 1800s. So they're gonna make a freaking elaborate scheme to promote their lies. It's companies telling you who you is. It's the elites telling you who you is. Don't listen to your family. Don't listen to your family. They're your guides. Well, let's go. All right. It said, for example, genetic ancestry testing can identify some of the groups and locations around the world where a taker haplotype and autosomal, I think I said it right, makers are found, but unlikely to identify all of them. Wait a minute. I thought we all had 99% DNA. How are you not able to identify all of them? How many people took a DNA test? They got over 12 million batches. We're talking worldwide. But you're not able. And how you know this stuff is complete fallacy? Somebody took a DNA test of a dog and it came back as Caucasian. Somebody took a DNA test of a lizard and it came back as an African. Look this up. Let's go to the next slide real quick. Another problem is the questionable scientific assumption are sometimes made when companies report results of a genetic ancestry test. For instance, when I think that says Ellie or whatever, allele, or a haplotype is most common in one population. Companies often assume it to be a diagnostic of the population. This can be problematic because high genetic diversity exists within populations and gene flow occurs between populations. So we talking mutations, diversities, changes in DNA. So now you got to add this to it. DNA is constantly changing. It's constantly changing. It's constantly mutating. Then on top of that, you got to think about the foods that they're giving you that's altering your DNA. Then you got to think about that magic juice that they're giving you. They're doing stuff that's constantly changing your DNA, but they got the nerve to tell you, hey, we can find out what you are after your DNA is changing. That's crazy. You just can't see it. Y'all can't see this. Your common sense is not activating. You can't see. I'm going over this, proving that this DNA is a lie. But companies sometimes fail to mention that I'm going to say allele because I can't pronounce it, that the allele could have been inherited from a population in which is less common. Consequently, hold on. Got to move the comments. Consequently, many consumers do not realize that the tests are problematic and can reach incorrect conclusions. Didn't Ancestral.com, 23andMe, did they all say their test is 100% accurate or at least 99% accurate? How you get an incorrect conclusion? And how's your DNA constantly changing? Oh, because other people taking more DNA tests, so we got more data. Blah, 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 blah. So we know what you are. Blah, blah, blah. It's complete fallacy. Again, 99% share DNA of all humans. How are you able to tell me what I am while all humans share 99% DNA? Yes, it's lies and trickery. So here's the red part. It says consumers often purchase these tests to learn about their race or ethnicity. Race is a false construct. Ethnicity is a false construct. Who created race and ethnicity? Who made categories for humans? Race and ethnicity don't got nothing to do with no biological nothing. Nothing biological. It's a status. Your race is a status. Your race is a corporation. A person. A straw man. That's what your race is. How can a race be biological? Biological. It's not biological. But there's no clear-cut connection between an individual's DNA and his or her racial or ethnic affiliation. Because race and ethnicity is not biological, people. Make it click in your head. I'm black. I'm black. I'm black. How is being black a biological thing? It's a construct. It's false. You're not black because there ain't no such thing as a black person. It's a made up thing. It's a category. I'm white. There's nothing biological about white. It's a bro, I'm telling you. I'm African American. There's nothing biological about an African American. Nothing. So how could DNA determine your race when race is not biological? Let's go. Many genetic ancestry tests also claim to tell consumers where their ancestry lineage originate and the social group to which their ancestors belong. However, present-day patterns of residence are rarely identical to what existed in the past, and social groups have changed over time in name and composition. Databases of present-day samples, they therefore provide false leads. Your results, your predictions, your estimations, and your DNA results. Oh, I'm 80% Nigerian. I'm 10% Togo. I'm 5% Congo. Databases of present-day samples may therefore provide false leads. How can you be 99% Nigerian? Nigeria is a geographical area. Why didn't they say I'm 59% Fulani? You know why? You know why? Because none of y'all ain't that. None of y'all, none of the tribes whatsoever. You have to go back to that number one person that gave birth to all them tribes. Do they got their bloodline? Do you got the number one progenitor bloodline? No, you do not. Because they ain't taking DNA of these dead people. They're not. That's right. You don't even have to identify today. America's such confusing. They talk about you don't even have to identify as male or female, even though those are animal constructs. Male, female. We say male, female for specimens, but they say humans are specimens, putting them in an animal category. How are DNA 90%, 99% the same, and then 40% Neanderthal? Oh, wait. Boom. You get it. Somebody gets it. Similarities is all similar. If it's similar, then you would look like it. If it's similar, you will look like it. They say that in DNA court, you can't take a dead person DNA to see if that's their child with they live. I get what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. But here's another thing. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you that courts don't even recognize ancestry tests. This is what the courts recognize. There's only 4 things that the courts recognize when it comes down to DNA. Let me show you. Court admissible paternity tests is paternity tests Ancestry. Let's see. Paternity DNA test can determine the childhood that, I think that said childhood, paternity. I don't know what it says. It's cut off. That a male is the biological father of the child. The standard parties test should include a child, the alleged father, and the other, while a paternity DNA test may be completed without the mother's participation. So what's a paternity test? What's a paternity test? For those of you Pan-Africans that be like, oh, paternity and ancestry, they the same thing. They can get a DNA test to find out if you're your child. That's similar DNA to closest people that's alive next to you. That's somebody that came out of your vagina and your pee-pee hole. Of course you're going to have the same DNA. Of course you're going to have the same DNA. Duh. Y'all literally close blood related or relatives. That's paternity. But what is ancestry? We talk about people that go way back, and we're talking 10 generations back. The only way to do that, you got to dig up the bodies and take the DNA and do a cross reference between your DNA and this person that passed away. That's the way how you do that's how you do a real ancestry test. A real ancestry test. To see if you actually real life relatives. But sitting up here taking spit of someone and comparing that spit to another person's spit across the world to see if there's similarities, even though y'all just came out and said humans share 99% of DNA. Duh, y'all gonna have similarities. Because y'all share 99%, but we don't look alike though. We gotta make it make sense. I'm telling y'all, it's just a game. DNA testing, it's a scam. It's a complete scam. There's no consistencies in what they say, bro. It's no consistencies. It's always inconsistent. When they try to explain this DNA shit, it's never consistent. It's inconsistent. Yet you believe it. Pan-African. Let's go. Court admissible paternity paternity test. Paternal paternity test. You'll require a paternity test before birth. Yada yada yada. So we still talking about paternity. You seeing what the courts only acknowledge? Did we see anything about ancestry? There's only 4 types of tests. Paternity, we're dealing with the father. Paternity, dealing with DNA, amniotic fluids. We talking about the woman, OGBYN. We talk about pregnancy. We're talking about pregnancy. So now we got to see if there's the paternity, seeing if a biological child belongs to you, and now we got pregnancy. Let's go. We still going. What's the other DNA test that the courts recognize? Court admissible twin. The twin test to determine whether twins are identical or fraternal. This will result in twins with the same DNA. That's the other test that the courts recognize. There's only one more. For those of y'all that keep saying, oh, the tests recognize the DNA testing. No, they don't. They don't recognize ancestry testing. They only recognize testing of close relatives. Because they know ancestry testing is what? Fraudulent, inconsistent. It's not tangible in court. Let's go to the last one that they recognize. Let's go. Go to it. Court admissible missing parent test. Here we go. You know how some of y'all come up and be like, oh, snaps. Ancestry DNA helped me find my mama. Guess what? That's called, it's another way for paternal testing. To see if you're related to this person that you say that's your mother. But this parent is missing or this child is missing. So now we're doing a missing DNA test. It's still paternity. So what, by default, what do the courts only recognize? paternity, fraternity, paternity, fraternity. And now when we go to crime scene and crime scene forensics, that's still paternity. Cause now they're just seeing if it's just your DNA. Oh, you dropped some blood right here on the door. You committed a crime, sir. You dropped some blood. Let me pick up this sample of this DNA and go to this person who the suspect. Let me go to the suspect and see if it matches. Oh, it's a 100% match. Yes, sir. This is your blood. Is that ancestry? Is that ancestry? No, that's not ancestry. Y'all need to know the difference between forensic science dealing with crime scenes and paternity and fraternity and missing parent tests dealing with DNA. You need to find out the difference because none of it ain't ancestry. Please pick up a book or at least go to an article. At least type it on your Google. Do courts recognize DNA testing, or what DNA test does court recognize that they consider tangible? It literally only takes 2 to 3 seconds to go read this. I mean, to look it up, but it takes about a good 5 to 10 minutes to read it. You got it. I'm just trying to help my people don't look foolish no more. That's all. I'm just trying to help you out. I'm trying to make you break out of this African theory. Because this whole African theory is racist. Then they created a system to promote that racist based off false notions. False notions. And then they found out it was false and they still push it. You know why? Because they're making too much money off the DNA kits. They're making too much money off the DNA kits. Facts. Indian affairs don't even recognize DNA tests. You know what they recognize? Blood quantum. Oh, here go the Pan-African. See, he said blood. He said quantum. So they take blood tests. No, they don't. Blood quantum is documents. Census records. Look it up. Blood quantum is census records. They doing paperwork. Nothing to do with pricking you and getting your blood and say, hi, you're a Native American. No, that's not what they're doing. They're looking for documentation and they try to base it off that documentation on how much blood you have in India, which is another racist thing. You can't determine somebody's blood off a piece of paper. That's just like you can't determine if somebody's your relative that died 100 years ago with spit. And just like how spit cannot tell you what geological region you are from, it's completely ludicrous. So there you go. What y'all learned? Y'all learned that there's only 4 types of tests that the courts recognize. And none of it is ancestry. So whenever you see somebody say, oh, here's my DNA test, especially if they're African, no, sir. Tell them, do courts recognize it? Yes or no? If they say yes, tell them to prove it. Tell them to go find the source where the courts recognize that ancestry test. If they can't provide it, they need to delete that shit. Go get their money back. Go get your refund because they lied to you. Heck, if you want me to tell you who you are, I mean, the courts are literally predicting. So just go to a random dude off the street and ask them and tell them, hey, who am I? Oh, you're African. Oh, thank you. The companies are doing literally the same thing, but they're using your DNA for other things. They're creating diseases and stuff. Cloning, all types of crazy things they doing with your spit, saliva. But you think this government is fit to tell you who you are after they did so much work of eliminating your identity, your culture, your languages? You think they finna tell you who you are after they worked so hard of eliminating that? Boy, y'all so delusional. Bro, y'all use race over nationality. That's how lost you is. You'd rather say I'm black than saying what tribe you from. You'd rather say you're a Creole. a color over what your nationality is and where your people come from and the direct person who you come from. That's crazy. And you proud of that. What is there to be proud of? They laughing at you. I'm proud to be a black crayon. I'm proud to be a brown person. What's a person? A person can be a chair. A person could be a building. Did you know that? A person can be a car. A person can be a corporation, entity, association. Facts, Samantha. But when you deal in the field of naturalism and say, I'm a person of flesh and blood and bone, no policy applies to you. No law applies to you because you cannot put law on flesh and blood. Only natural law can that comes from God. That's why they gave you a name. That's why the course asks you for your name when it starts. What is your name? What is your name? As soon as you agree to that name, as soon as you show that the magistrate has power over you by you agreeing that is your name, she got power over you. You legally admitted that that is your name. That's who you are. You are the straw man. You're not the real person. You're not flesh and blood in that court, in the sea. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. Y'all walking around here thinking you a real person. The court, as soon as you come out there and say you black, you automatically said I'm not a real person. That's why they do the things they do to you. That's why police officers get away with everything. That's why they lock you up forever. Because you literally told the judge, I am not a natural person. I am not blood and flesh. I am not flesh and blood. I am not bone. I am I am Huthu, this name, this on his birth certificate. That's who I am. Oh, that's not a real thing. That's just letters. So I could do anything I want with letters. Letters does not have privileges, rights, or anything. You're just a jumbled up letters all together. That's what you are. Because you said that's what you is. And not to mention black on top of that. So you black letters. Right? So now you see. In this theory, see, I was going to bring this out in a debate. I was supposed to be debating some Pan-African guy that got 100,000 followers. So I really feel like it's not going to happen. Dude, the type of information I have to unload on this guy, because I already checked this guy out. I'm not going to say his name. If you want to know who I'm talking about, just scroll down my page. It's like the first or third video on my page at the top. But I already went on his page, and I did my investigation on what is his standpoint. Where's it going to come from? Boom, DNA. I said, boy, I got you. That's going to be the first topic. I got you. Because as soon as you say DNA, I'm going to automatically assume that you're a monkey. I'm going to automatically assume that. I'm going to automatically assume you come from Lucy. And I'm going to automatically assume that you believe in a theory of everyone has 99% of DNA. Then I'm going to throw in that, hey, didn't scientists say humans got pig DNA, dog DNA? I don't look like a dog. I don't look like a pig. The DNA show on the surface, don't it? I mean, there's so many ways I can go with this, but I'm gonna bring out sources and everything and ask you common sense questions. But his standpoint is DNA. Then he said, you know, lost your African mind. Wow, he just said African mind. There's no such thing as an African. Africans don't even call themselves Africans in their own land. They call themselves by their tribes, by their families, by their clans. They don't call themselves a geographical area. They don't call themselves that. They call themselves by the seed that they spun from. Not, I'm African. I'm a continent. That's what you think that's what they do? And meanwhile, you over here calling yourself a Creon. That's crazy. That's crazy. But they come over here call themselves African to you because they automatically assume that you're not that bright. You're not intelligent. They automatically think that you are criminals, savages, and you're not smart. So we're just going to call ourselves African, even though they are labeled on the citizens as white. They come over here being white. Did y'all know that? Africans come over here and they sign themselves as white. Did y'all know that? Y'all didn't know that, didn't you? Why do you think Africans go right above you in society? And they come over and say, oh, I'm not black. And you looking at them like they crazy. It's because you don't understand. Don't look at them like they're crazy. They understand their assignment. You don't understand the assignment. You don't understand, my friend. And they get on TikTok and say, oh, we want people, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as they come over here, me no black. Me no black. I'm not black. Don't let TikTok fool you. Because soon they come over here, they ain't black. And they ain't messing with you, bro. But they will invite you to Africa. Because they know you're finna bring them big bucks and buy their resources. Oh, they're going to be all fine and family and everything. It's because you bringing them big bucks. And they want you to promote their business. They want to go trendy, and they know they can only go trendy through you, so they're gonna capitalize on that. I would have capitalized on that if you coming over to my country, and I know you're trendsetters, and I know you could promote my business. Hell yeah, I'm finna say, oh yes, come over here, family, you African, blah 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 blah. I don't know what tribe you is, but you home, welcome home. Promote my business here. Buy my corn. Buy my fufu. Buy all of this. Promote me. Make a video of me. And tell people to come here. And make sure you say my business name. Yes, that did happen in one of his videos. I said, boy, they got you. And I'm looking at y'all phenotype. You don't look nothing like them. Your forehead is long. You got a snout, nose, and high cheekbones. And you out here saying you African. You don't even match the African phenotype. You know, most Africans have like spaced eyes, like it's like Glorilla, kind of like, and their foreheads is low or sometimes receding, and sometimes their nose is very wide. But we all have thick lips. Yes, we all have melanin. But why don't society go off phenotype no more? They want to holler DNA, but not phenotype. You over there looking like a whole Indian talking about you African. And the Africans can literally tell you're not from there. Why you think that? Why you think they could tell the difference between us and them if we are the same? Think about it. How can an African tell the difference between us and them if we look the same? How can we tell the difference between us and an African if we allegedly look the same? It's because we're not the same. Boy, it's crazy. Y'all, people just don't get it. The only people that's not going to get it is other nations because they see the same thing. They see the same color. So they're not really looking at phenotypes like that. But we can see it. We could tell if a black person coming from another country. We could tell if you one of us or not. We can see that shit. Just like how the Japanese and Chinese can tell if you're Japanese and Chinese, they can tell that shit. But other people can't tell that shit. But we can. Just like other whites, they can tell if another white comes from another country. It's difference in this shit, bro. You just can't tell. It's just because we're not the same. Stop putting us in the same boat. This is one of the resources I was going to bring against that Pan-African guy. I'm not going to read all of it, because I want to keep it just in case. Because I want to put on the show. I'm not gonna disrespect him. I'm gonna be civil, very understanding. I'm gonna answer questions, and if he say something I don't know, I'm gonna receive it. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna study it. But the ounce of me seeing emotion and no sources, oh, you lost the topic, my boy. You lost the topic, my boy. You lost the topic. Cause everybody know me. I'm gonna bring my sources. I'm facts. I got a notebook ready. I got screenshots ready. I got the whole section ready, and I was just doing some more research today. I got it all ready. I got an answer for everything he say. I got my documentation ready. I got my records ready. I got everything ready. I got congressional records ready. Court documents. Even Walter Plecker's documents. I got everything ready. Boy, no Pan-African is going to be able to defeat me. That's why most of them don't debate me. But this guy, he fell for the okie dokie. He don't know me. He don't know me. So I like, you fell for it. You fell for it. I got you. But a lot of Pan-Africans do know me, and they don't challenge me for real. You know why? Because you're looking at something. You see that right there? The background? That's why. I don't deal with emotion. I don't deal with, I feel like how the first guest got in here. How she said, what she say? I feel like. That's where she fucked up at. She said, I feel like. No, ma'am, I don't deal with I feel. Because that's your perception of your reality. I'm dealing with evidence that's written down. Yeah, she was rude, but you see how I handle it? The only way you deal with rude people is keep on presenting knowledge and understanding. Then once I brought out that source, that book, I don't read books that I don't what she say? I don't read books that what? She don't believe in or something, or that don't intrigue her or something like that. Boy, she got right off this live. Once I asked her for that documentation, what did she do, y'all? What'd she do? I'm gonna send it to Instagram. I ain't got no Instagram notification yet. You don't believe me? I screenshot it. I don't got no DM yet, cause I know you don't got no transfer record. I know for a fact you ain't got no transfer record, because if I just told you only 8% of Africans came to America, then what does that tell you? And then you told me your people came in the 1700s. Dude, do you know how many indentured services here during the 1700s? Do you know how many people is already here that's being trafficked back and forth from Brazil to Venezuela, from Jamaica, from Haiti, from the Dominican Republic, from Louisiana to Virginia? Why they got to bring people from Africa when they trafficking people from South America to North America, and the British Crown is sending white indentured servants over here? They don't need no Africans. So what are you talking about, Angolia? I knew that was cap soon as he said that. But I didn't want to disrespect. I didn't want to talk that noise. Because I already knew what I was dealing with. I was dealing with somebody that is heavily influenced with colonialism theories and racism. And she took that as, this is who I am. That's a real disease, y'all. And then you fight for it. You don't even realize you fighting for Charles Darwin, bro. You fighting to be a monkey, bro. Like, for real. If you look at the base of what you're fighting for, the base of it is, I'm a monkey. Real talk. That's the base of this thing. And people don't see it. They too busy looking at Wakanda, thinking, it's Wakanda. I come from a Wakanda background. Wakanda really in Peru, but y'all let y'all know, Wakanda really took place in Peru, not Africa. Just like the Avatar, it took place in the Americas, not Africa. But Pan-Africans, they're gonna come up, swear up and down as Africa. No, it's not. It was America. All of it was America. You don't even see the giant trees. You don't even see the giant tree stumps in Africa. You see all the giant tree stump, petrified giant tree stumps in America. And then most of them had locks. Then you see the ones that was mixed. They had the hair. You know what I'm saying? They had the hair that's not original. And then they went down to the Bahamas. Then they seen the other avatars. Yeah, and the Black Panther originated in America. Really, the panther is really a leopard. Did you know that? It's a recessive leopard. Don't know why they call it a panther. Because it's a leopard that's recessive. That's heavily melanated. And their version is what they say a Black Panther is recessive. I don't know how it's recessive, but since it's dark, but that's what they say. But Black Panther, yes, it takes place in Peru, Central America. It doesn't take place in no Africa. But it says the essay, it says the genetic race, DNA ancestry test, racial identity, and the law. That's what you want to look for. What do the law say about the genetic testing? I'll say it again. The essay. This is an essay by Jessica L. Roberts and Trina Jones. It says genetic race, DNA ancestry test, racial identity, and the law. What did we read already about what the courts accept? Okay. I see somebody said that the avatar was the Asianics. Look, check it out. The avatar was not no Asianic. Because for one, again, the giant trees was in America. Two, when they went to the Bahamas, when they went to the islands, there's no Asianic. Come on, bro. Come on. They went to the islands. You seen the little boy. You seen the little boy that was the son of that king. You seen his face, the N-word features. Then on top of that, you seen the Hispanicism, Mexicanism, Mayanism within those people in the islands. And you mean to tell me that was Asianic? Get out of here. If you ain't watched the new Avatar, go watch that. Peep that shit. That was about the Caribbeans. That was about the North Americans going to the Caribbean islands. That was about them. Colonialism. Oh, my bad. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was black. It was black copper colored people. It wasn't Asianic people. But it says like if you got all these theories and everything, you can clearly see what Avatar is about. You can go on 123 movies. 123 movies. Go on to brave.com and go watch the Avatar on 123 movies. You can watch it for free. Bootleg, but still good edition. Go peep that joint. You go see it. But it says we argue that the tests are poor proxies. My bad. Poor proxies for the race because they fail to reflect the social, cultural, relational, and experiential or whatever norms that shape identity. We consider three separate legal contexts in which these issues arise: employment discrimination, race conscience. I'm not even going to say that. Immigration. And based on analysis, we strongly caution against defining race in a predominantly genetic terms. Don't laugh at me. Senator laughing at me because I couldn't say that dang word. But anyways, you hear her laughing in the background. But anyways, this is what my source right here that I was going to present in the debate. This is what I was going to present. I got a lot of stuff dealing with it. I want to read at least one thing out of here. I'm going to read this section. It says DNA ancestry test represents a marriage of at least two separate areas of scientific inquiries: genetic similarity and two, human whatever patterns. It says the main part I want to read was the red one. It says, importantly, the Human Genome Project revealed that human beings are 99.9 genetically similar. Showing that we not bullshitting with what we said. How are you 99.9% similar when you don't look alike? You will literally be of the same race, everybody. Everybody will be just as melanated, having the same phenotype and everything if we was 99.9 similar, genetically similar. Genetically, did you know that's outer appearance? We ain't just talking about blood and chromosomes and shit. We talking about the outer appearance. Your outer appearance, that's genetic too. It says the variation in that remaining fraction of the percent is what enables DNA ancestry testing companies to predict people's geographic origins. Wait a minute. They just said the other percent. What's the other percent of the 99%? 0.1% is what they use to predict where you come from. We talking less than 1%. We talk about 0.0, or we talking about 0.1%. 0.1% is what they use to tell you who you are. Predict. I tell you, you might as well go to a clown off the street and ask them what you are, because they doing the same damn thing. Bro, 0.1% is what they use to tell you what you are. And they guessing. It's not accurate. If I gotta predict, then that means I'm not accurate. I'm not accurate. Right? I'm gonna jump down to the no, I'm gonna read it. It says the limitations of DNA ancestry tests. Having explained the science of DNA ancestry tests, we now turn to how these tests may fail to accurately predict. You can't accurately predict. Either you're accurate or you're not. Predicting is guessing. That means you're going to be wrong. But it says accurately predict a person's genetic ancestry. A variety of factors affect the ability to predict a genetic ancestry. The distribution of human genetic variation, does it sound like mutations? The genetic markers used to reference points, the selection of reference populations, and the statistical measures used for analysis. As a result, there are certain things DNA ancestry tests cannot do. I wonder why. Because they only use 0.1% to determine what you are. First, DNA ancestry tests cannot perfectly calculate a person's continental region. But what do ancestry tests do? We'll spit now. It says, or a biogeographic ancestry. Ain't no such thing as a biogeographic because the land is not bio. The land is not genetic. So there's no biogeographic. The land would literally have to be made out of flesh for it to be a biogenetic. Boy, this stuff is just, it makes my head hurt because it's so stupid. It's so stupid. When you pay attention to the terms and know what the terms is, and you know that something is bio, we talk about flesh and blood, then we say a bio geographic place, then that we looking at a place like flesh and blood or some shit. Literally a land of flesh and blood. No bloodline could tell you what landmass you from. Even within populations, genetics vary and are inevitably matters in probability. There's no single genetic trait shared by all members of ancestry populations. Wait a minute. Now it sounds conflicted because you just said humans share 99.9% similar DNA, and now you turn around and saying there's no singular genetic trait shared by all members of ancestry populations. It gotta be if it's 99.9%. Or let's be talking about the 0.1%. That's crazy. But I want to stop right there because I don't want to spoil anyone with the sources I have for this debate. Cause I got it. I freaking got the debate. I know it is. And I know there's people that want to get in it. It's cool. But shit, I got this. I wanted to read this last thing in, where is it? No, it's not this. That's one of my other sources. It's not that. It says, although it is important for consumers to understand the limitations of genetic ancestry testing and the complex relation between DNA, race, and identity, these complexities are not always made clear. Dude, we got another source that's saying DNA test is not accurate. But it says websites of many companies state that race is not genetically determined. Race is not genetically determined. What did I just tell you, people? Race is not race is not genetic. It's a status. I'm the human race. I'm a human status. What status of the human are you? It says, let me skip on down. It says, because race has such a profound social, that's non-genetic, political, non-genetic, economic consequence, non-genetic, we should be wary of allowing the concept to redefine in a way the abscurs its historical roots and disconnects it from its cultural and social economic context. So when we going down right here, this the real meat right here. This the meat right here. This is what I want to really get at. Is this it? No, this not it. That's the last page of that. No, that ain't what I want to get. I wanted to get you right down there. And it appears I didn't get that screenshot properly. Okay. It said it is unlikely that companies and associate scientists deliberately choose to mislead consumers or misrepresent scientists. However, market pressures can lead to conflicts of interest, and data may be interpreted differently when financial incentives exist. What did that just tell you? How many times the naturalism of Yahweh got to tell you that these companies have a conflict of interest? America got a conflict of interest. They want to keep you in a certain racial category. They want to promote Darwinism. So that's a conflict of interest right there to prove that that Darwinism is a factual thing. That's what they want to prove. That is the base of science. I'm telling you, it's Darwinism. In the moment you prove Darwinism is wrong, then science is wrong. Evolution is wrong. Lucy is wrong. Everything about science is wrong. Eugenics is wrong. Everything is wrong. So, in order to keep this thing going, let's pay the science and make the science lie about where these people come from. Conflict of interest. Who runs the company, who owns the company, gets to dictate what the scientists get to tell to the public. Who pays the scientists? Nobody never think of it. Oh, science would never lie to me. It says these incentives include paid constellations, whatever, patent rights. I'm like, there's some words I just can't pronounce. If I don't say this shit to a day-to-day base, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that shit. But it says patent rights, licensing, agreements, stock options, direct stock grants. See, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of reasons why they can lie. Well, like I said, this is just some of the resources, evidence that I'm gonna present in the end of the debate to prove that, hey, this dude's nothing but a liar. You don't know anything. You're just someone that's assuming your identity, but you're going against what your family had told you. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this live. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I hope y'all actually learned something today. But do not test the DNA test. And these Pan-Africans, they got another thing coming, man, because they are the only people that's stopping the progression of us learning who we truly are. It's like you want us to stay back, stay in that little racist bubble. And we got to break free out of that. So, all right, peace, y'all.